back to the first episode of the 2025 season of Driving the Lane. I'm Aaron Markwardt, and to my right here is the head women's basketball coach, Scott Hyland. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Good. Glad to hear it. So for the people who don't know you, kind of tell us a little bit about you personally and kind of your experience getting to where you are now.
Sure. Well, this is my 11th stop in my collegiate coaching career, which 32 years total, 23 years as a head coach. A huge part of that has been my wife of 32 years, Yvonne, been extremely supportive in all of our moves. We've got two boys. One just graduated with his master's here in the business department. The other one's a Marine. And then three dogs. We got 3 rescue dogs at home that keep us busy. So personally, that's pretty much me. Basketball, family, and the dogs. Basketball taking up a good chunk of that time. As I mentioned, my 23rd year as a head coach. I've been a head coach at the D2, JUCO, and NAI levels. My second year here, it's been a great experience, been a great move, really enjoyed it, and looking forward to several more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like you said, it's your second year here, so kind of tell us about the difference between year 1 and year 2, if there is any.
Yeah, no, there has been. That first year, again, my 5th head coaching stop, so again, I've had a chance to go through the process before. That first year, you're just trying to get your feet on the ground. You're trying to figure out how things work, how things operate. I inherited several players, and again, it was a mad dash on the recruiting end. We were competitive. We got better. We were playing some pretty good basketball by the end of the season. This year has been smoother. Having a group that understands a little bit better of what the expectations are. But at the same time, by year 2, we're still trying to set, some of that groundwork, setting the bar of what are the standards in terms of what the expectations are day in and day out. Everybody wants to look at the big picture. Well, you need to be competing for this and competing for that. It's the daily. The daily standards are what are going to help, get to that point. And so getting the right people on board is a huge part. We've made some really good strides in doing that. We've got some really strong internal leadership that's getting better and better. Good understanding of what is needed on a daily basis in practice. And then at the same time, learning, how things operate at the university level. Again, a school like Texas Wesleyan, there's changes happening and whatnot, and some shifting, and so taking that along with it. But it's been a really good experience. Been a good year, solid year. Hoping to finish it off, hopefully with a bang here.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a lot of coaches have said before, a big thing for their team is identity. Right. Obviously, you've said you're only year 2. There's still a lot to figure out. But having as many coaching stops as you've had and how much experience, does your team have an identity, and have you guys found that already?
It's in flux a bit. One of the things that I've learned, again, at the lower level, you're not always going to get the player you want or the player you need. And so you have to adapt a little bit. And one of the things that we've tried to do in recruiting is again, find the right people, and then from a skill standpoint, find players that excel maybe at 1 or 2 things. What can they really hang their hat on? And some of them are still trying to figure that out as we develop them. But the team that we've wanted to be, which was the program that we built, in my previous stop at Hill College, where we won 3 conference titles in 4 years, was, 2 units. We're going to play fast, get you in, get you out, subbing 5 in, 5 out, and throwing, again, that way, throwing multiple defenses a team, different looks offensively, but the pace. Right. The pace was the huge thing that we would just wear teams down. We haven't been able to have that same depth here, the quality of depth. We've had some injuries that have gotten in the way a little bit as well. And so we've had to kind of veer off of that. Now we still play a lot of people. We still want to play fast. We're not playing as fast as I'd like. But I think at the end of the day, what we have found that we've become very good at last year, even better this year, is on the defensive end. We're just looking, at some numbers in conference play. We're the only team in the conference, top 3 in points allowed, defensive field goal percentage, steals, block shots, and opponents' turnovers.
Yep.
And again, you can win some games if you're really good at those things. And so, we've kind of hung our hat on being a very solid defensive unit. Offensively, we're executing a lot better. But at the end of the day, yeah, we got to be able to get stops so we can get out and run.
So on the season right now, you're currently 14-7, 10-7 in the conference. How would you sum up how the year's gone so far?
It's been a bit up and down. We got off to a good start with 4 non-conference wins. We're in a good spot, but it's kind of it's what could have been. We're about 5 plays away total in 3 games where we could be 17-4 very easily. A couple of games that we just let get away that we haven't, lost in recent years. And so there's a little bit of that, of what could have been, but on the bright side, we are playing some of our best basketball right now. I really think we're raising our level of play at both ends of the floor, and we're moving towards peaking at the right time. Right. Ideally, again, we can run together a nice string of wins here, put ourselves in a great position to make a good run at a conference tournament championship maybe, and then hopefully beyond. But we are playing good basketball right now, exciting basketball, and I'm just, again, looking forward to getting out there in practice today and taking another step towards getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of talked a little bit about it with kind of your identity and everything and having like the depth of your team. And so I know you have at least 10 players averaging at least 13 minutes a game. Like, what's the importance of having that depth and having the experience across your team?
And that comes back to, again, the philosophy of trying to, again, utilize a lot of people, save on the legs a little bit to be able to play harder, play faster, play with a little bit more intensity, but also ideally save, on the legs a little bit as the year goes on. We haven't been able to do it quite to the extent, but yeah, we're a team that if you were to ask, okay, well, who's your go-to player? It depends on the day. It really does, which can be a good thing in one sense, but it can also it can also be a little bit of a hindrance in that we kind of have to create some different opportunities for different people depending on who's playing well for us. But I do think, again, here down the stretch, we've seen 1 or 2 people that have really stepped their game up. Cameron Phillips playing great basketball right now. Taryn Wills, is learning within our offense how she can score. And so, again, we're getting some of those things figured out. But, yeah, having the ability to go to different people, different combinations, depending on what the needs, in that moment are very, very resourceful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you just touched on, Cameron Phillips and Taryn Wills, have there been any other big contributors that have kind of stepped up in big moments or been a huge glue component to your team?
Sure. Savannah Smith hit a couple of big shots to win games for us early in the season. Peyton Foster, I think, has really stepped her game up. 2 years ago, she's a walk-on for us at Hill, and now she's one of our captains. She's one of our team leaders. She's basically become the second best shooter on the team behind Savannah. And again, as about a 5'11", 6-foot wing, that can be extremely helpful. As I mentioned, Cameron Phillips has really figured some things out in terms of how she can score. Defensively, she's made huge strides. Taryn, within our motion offense, has really gained an understanding of when seams and gaps are going to open up to attack. And you've seen her, again, her ability to get to the paint and elevate and score has really picked up. You know, on the other end, you know, from a defensive standpoint, you know, I talked about how, you know, we're the only team in the conference, top 3 in, you know, those 4 or 5 categories.
Right.
The glue to that is Sophia Hurtado. You know, you know, at the end of the year, we'll make a pitch for her for Defensive Player of the Year. She's not going to be way up there in rebounds per game. She's not going to lead the conference in block shots or steals or anything like that. But as what I feel is one of the, if not the best defensive team in the conference, she's the one that makes it work.
Yeah.
Her talking on defense, the way she battles in the middle of our 2-3 blue defense, we're just a different team when she's on the court. And so, you know, those, I think, you know, again, those 4 or 5 that I mentioned have been huge. But again, with how we play, everybody plays a critical role. And I've got a great group. I'm very fortunate that again, I've got several that I can call on if needed.
Right. Yeah. And kind of as we touched on, 10-7 in the conference, currently sitting 5th place. You've got John Brown tomorrow with 6 other games that follow. Kind of how are you feeling going into the last game or last little stretch in the season? What's that look like?
Sure. No, I feel really good. Like I mentioned earlier, I think we're playing some of our best basketball on both ends of the floor. We're relatively healthy. We've just gotten Zaniah Hensley, 6'3" freshman post, into the mix. You know, the last 2-3 games, she's seen a few minutes and hasn't been a lot, but she's, you know, her impact has definitely been felt, and hopefully we'll get her a little bit more playing time. So, again, the pieces are there. I think we still have a few things we've got to get better at. If we shoot the ball well, we always give ourselves a chance because I know we're going to defend. The addition of Zaniah in the middle of our blue, added shot blocker, rebounding, you know, can have a huge impact. So yeah, I mean, I really do. And again, having a stretch here, we have 4 in a row at home. 4 games we really need to win before finishing up on the road with 3. I felt like, you know, if we can go 6 and 7, I think we get that 4 seed. 5 or you win 6 of 7. If we, you know, win 5 of the 7, probably going to fall into that 5th spot. We're going to have to go on the road. But again, the way we defend, we always give ourselves a chance. So again, if we can stay healthy, I really like our chances.
Yeah. So like you said, you heightened your defensive prowess on everything. Would you say offensively that's been your biggest like hurdle to get over as the stretch goes down, or is there something else?
Yeah, we're just, you know, it's been, again, I've been, my whole coaching career, you know, we've had to adapt to what we have. We haven't been able to, places that I've been at, we haven't been able to get the cream of the crop necessarily. And so, but one thing we always have had is a multitude of shooters. Hasn't been the case here, unfortunately. So we've had to change a lot of things in terms of what we do offensively. But, you know, if we can find Savannah some shots, that really changes things because it opens up the floor for other people to attack and get to the rim. And so, yeah, you know, if we can solve that shooting crisis and get a little bit more consistent there, which, you know, again, we've seen Peyton is shooting the ball better. Last game, Anaya Sanford hit a couple big threes. A few games ago, Amani Mitchell had a big night, hitting 4.5. And so, you know, we try to kind of piece it together based on who's hot. But yeah, if we can solve that, put a few more points on the board, that definitely makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, and so you've kind of highlighted some of the seniors you've had on your team so far throughout this interview here. Obviously, you have your senior night coming up on Saturday against College of the Ozarks at 12 o'clock noon.
Yep.
What can you kind of tell us about these group of seniors you've had?
It's, you know, it's a mix. Taryn and Savannah, you know, are 2 that I inherited. Cameron Gibson, Amani Mitchell, 2 that we brought in during my first year. The one thing that I can say about all 4 of them is they're great people. They're fun to be around. They're a joy to work with. We've seen some really good improvement, I think, in all of them. But at the end of the day, like I said, they're just good people. And my hope, again, you know, it was always the case at the junior college level with the sophomores moving on, you know, now the case with seniors, you know, you just hope that they can take, you know, some of the lessons, hopefully, that they've learned in their time in our program, and you know, some of the, you know, adversity they've had to go through, and how to deal with some things and whatnot. And hopefully we can look back in about 10 years and say, yeah, I gotta work with her, you know, because they've got great futures ahead of them, and that's, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to, is, you know, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, boy, what are they going to be doing? And be able to look back and be able to say, yeah, I had a small role in that.
Yeah, I love that. So last question for you. A little bit of change of subject here.
All right.
So I know you're a Minnesota man.
Yep.
And as we talked the other day, you are talking about the injury prone with the Twins.
Oh, boy.
So in a week, spring training starts. So give us your prediction for the season for the Minnesota Twins.
A miracle's going to happen. Byron Buxton's going to play at least 140 games. Royce Lewis going to play at least 140 games. Carlos Correa's feet are not going to be a problem. He's going to be able to play about 145, 150 games. The pitching is going to hold. Nobody's going to get hurt. And the Twins are going to win about 95 games and win the Central. And then they'll probably play the Yankees again in the playoffs, and they'll get swept, and they'll be done. So, they've got a chance. They've, you know, again, they've got some really good pieces. I've been a Twins fan as far back as my memory goes, and you know, my wife is gracious enough to allow me to get the TV package so I can watch every game. That's my summers. You know, summers revolve around get everything done. Twins, sit down and let's watch baseball. But yeah, I think if they can stay healthy, they got a good shot. They've got the pieces. They've got a great organization. Rocco does a really nice job, you know, managing, and I just, you know, my hope is to get up there. Still haven't seen a game yet at Target Field, so that's always my hope is to get up there and catch a game. But we'll be over at Ranger Stadium when they come down.
Oh yeah,
later this year.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Aaron Markwardt. This is Scott Hyland, and we'll see you all next time.
All right.